Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. You know, it's kind of crazy to think we're already well into 2026, and yet the two phones sitting on my desk right now, the iPhone 14 Pro and the standard iPhone 15, are still some of the most discussed devices in the community. If you're watching this, you're probably in one of three camps. Maybe you're looking to pick up a reliable used iPhone without breaking the bank. Maybe you're currently rocking one of these and wondering if it's time to move to the iPhone 17. Or maybe you're stuck on an older 12 or 13 and just confused about which path to take. In this video, I want to keep things super casual, just like we're hanging out and talking tech, but I also want to be professional and give you the real data. We're going to look at how these two hold up under the brand new iOS 26, how the battery health is actually impacting performance after a few years, and whether that 120Hz display or the USB-C port is the bigger deal breaker for you in today's world. I've been using both of these as my backup devices for a while now, and they've been sitting right here on my desk or in my bag for review purposes, so I've got some very specific thoughts on their day-to-day life in 2026. To really understand where we are now, we have to look back at what these phones represented when they first hit the shelves. When the iPhone 14 Pro launched in late 2022, it was the golden child of the lineup. Literally, I have the gold model here, and it still looks stunning. This was the phone that gave us the dynamic island, replacing that old notch, and it was the first time we saw a 48 megapixel sensor on an iPhone. It felt like a massive leap forward in professional mobile photography. Then a year later, the iPhone 15 arrived, and it was a bit of a greatest hits album. It took that A16 Bionic chip and the dynamic island from the 14 Pro and put them into a much lighter, more colorful body. But the real headline back then, USB-C. Apple finally ditched the Lightning port, which changed the game for anyone tired of carrying multiple cables. So essentially, you have a 2022 flagship competing against the 2023 refined base model, and because they share so much internal DNA, the choice between them today is actually a lot harder than you'd think. Let's talk about the physical side of things first, because you're going to be holding this thing every single day. My iPhone 14 Pro is in that classic gold finish, and man, it still feels like a piece of jewelry. It uses surgical grade stainless steel, which is incredibly durable but also heavy. We're talking 206 grams. You really feel that weight in your pocket, and if you're using it caseless, it's a total fingerprint magnet. The rails just get covered in smudges instantly. Now look at the iPhone 15 in this beautiful blue. It's a completely different philosophy. It's made of aluminum, which is way lighter, only 171 grams. But the real win here is the material on the back. It's this color-infused glass with a matte finish that feels almost like fine sandpaper or a smooth stone. It's so much more comfortable to hold because Apple rounded the edges slightly, whereas the 14 Pro still has those sharper, flat stainless steel edges that can dig into your palm after a while. Display-wise, this is where the 14 Pro wins the spec sheet war. But there's a catch in 2026. The 14 Pro has that ProMotion display, meaning it can go up to 120 Hz for super smooth scrolling. Honestly, once you've used 120 Hz, it's really hard to go back, but we have to be real. The iPhone 15's display is still gorgeous. It gets just as bright as the Pro, peaking at 2000 nits outdoors, which is a lifesaver when you're trying to read a map in direct sunlight. The downside of the 15, it's still stuck at 60 Hz. In 2026, 60 Hz is basically legacy tech. Every flagship phone and even the mid-range ones nowadays have 120 Hz. If you're coming from an iPhone 11 or 12, the 15 will look great to you. But if you've ever played around with the Pro model or even a modern iPad, you'll notice that the 15 feels a little bit, stuttery in comparison, even though the processor is doing just fine. Under the hood, both of these phones are running the A16 Bionic chip. It's funny because when the 15 came out, people were a bit disappointed it didn't get a new chip. But in 2026, the A16 is actually still a beast. I've been running the latest public stable version of iOS 26 on both, and the experience is surprisingly fluid. Apple did this huge upgrade with iOS 26 called Liquid Glass Design. It's this beautiful UI overhaul with lots of translucency and new animations that react to how you move the phone. Honestly, it makes older versions like iOS 18 look like they're from a decade ago. I really love how the 14 Pro handles these animations. The 120 Hz refresh rate really lets that liquid feel shine. On the iPhone 15, it's still buttery, but you don't get that same level of physicality in the movement because of the 60 Hz screen. I ran some tests, and as you can see, the scores are very close. The 14 Pro pulls ahead slightly, maybe because of better thermal dissipation through that steel frame, but for day-to-day use, you won't notice a gap. Apps open instantly, and multitasking is great because both of these have 6 GB of RAM That's the magic number. If you're on an older iPhone with 4 gigabytes of RAM, you probably notice apps reloading all the time in the background. On these two, I can have a decent apps open and jump back into a game or a browser tab right where I left off. I do some gaming on these as well, mostly casual stuff, but occasionally some more demanding titles, and they both hold up. They do get noticeably warm though. This is where my personal experience gets a little, well, frustrating. For the 14 Pro, my Gold 14 Pro has been my workhorse for over 3 years now. And the battery health is down to 78%. I've even got that important battery message in settings that Apple sends you when it's time for a service. In 2026, a 78% battery on a Pro model is a bit of a struggle. If I'm just using it lightly, scrolling through some emails or checking the weather, it can last a whole day. But the moment I turn on cellular data and start doing demanding tasks, it's dead by the afternoon. I usually have to charge it twice a day just to keep it alive. The iPhone 15, on the other hand, is still a champ. This unit is about a year old for me, first used in late 2024, and the battery health is sitting pretty at 98%, with only 217 cycles. It easily lasts me a full day and sometimes into the next morning if I'm careful. Apple actually upgraded the battery lifespan on the 15 series to 1000 cycles before hitting 80% health compared to only 500 cycles on the 14 Pro. So if you're buying used, the 15 is objectively a safer bet for longevity. Now let's talk cameras, because this is usually why people buy iPhones in the first place. Both of these phones have a 48 megapixel main sensor, and honestly, in 2026 they still take incredible photos that look great on any social media platform. The 14 Pro has the big hardware advantage, that dedicated 3x telephoto zoom lens. If you're at a concert or trying to take a portrait of someone from across the room, that 3x lens is a game changer. It also has LiDAR, which helps with focusing in the dark. Plus, if you're a pro who likes to edit your shots, you get Pro RAW and ProRes video, stuff that the base 15 just doesn't offer. But here's the thing, for the average person, the iPhone 15's camera is actually better for quick snapshots. It uses a newer version of Smart HDR, and its 48 megapixel sensor can take default 24 megapixel, while the 14 Pro is just 12 megapixel. To give you some perspective on where we are now, the new iPhone 17 series just introduced dual capture and that amazing 18 megapixel center stage selfie camera. Center stage is so cool, it uses a square sensor so you can take a wide group selfie without even turning your phone sideways. Neither the 14 Pro nor the 15 can do that. We're still in the world of 12 megapixel front cameras here, which are fine, but they definitely feel a generation behind the latest tech. Okay, now we have to talk about Apple Intelligence. I want to be 100% honest with you guys. Neither of these phones officially supports the full suite of Apple Intelligence features. That's reserved for the iPhone 15 Pro and newer. Now for me, that's not a deal breaker. Apple Intelligence is still kind of in its growing pains stage, and I find myself using more powerful alternatives anyway. I've got ChatGPT and Gemini apps on both of these phones, and they work perfectly. In fact, they're often faster and smarter for the kind of stuff I need, like summarizing long emails or helping with creative writing. So don't let the AI hype scare you away from these older models. You can still be an AI power user just by using the right apps. The bigger win is the commitment Apple has to software. The fact that my 14 Pro, a 3-year-old phone, is running the same iOS 26 as the brand new iPhone 17 Pro is incredible. It looks the same, it feels fresh, and I know I've still got at least another 2 or 3 years of major updates coming. That's the real value of staying in the Apple ecosystem. If you're looking to buy one of these right now, there are 3 main things you need to consider. First, the port. The 14 Pro is stuck with Lightning. In 2026, almost everything is USB-C. Your laptop, your headphones, probably even your toothbrush. Having to carry a separate Lightning cable just for your phone is becoming a real annoyance. The iPhone 15 has USB-C, which is way more convenient. But, and this is a big but, it's still just USB 2.0 speed. So if you're trying to transfer huge 4K video files to your computer, it's gonna be just as slow as the Lightning cable on the 14 Pro. Second, the display refresh rate. Like I mentioned, the 15 is 60 Hz. In a world where every other phone is 120 Hz, it can feel a little dated. If you care about that smooth high-end feel, you have to go with the 14 Pro. Finally, the battery life for used models. If you buy a 14 Pro today, there's a high chance the battery is already below 85% health. You might need to factor in the cost of a battery replacement to get a truly reliable experience. The iPhone 15 units out there are generally newer and the batteries are built to last longer, so they're the safer buy and forget option. So which one should you choose? Honestly, it comes down to what you value more in your daily life. If you're someone who just wants a phone that just works, it's lightweight, it's comfortable to hold, the battery is solid, and it uses the same charger as your MacBook, then the iPhone 15 is the one for you. It's a reliable, no-nonsense device that still looks and feels modern in 2026. You lose the 120Hz screen and the zoom lens, but for most people, the convenience of USB-C and the better battery health are more important. But if you're a bit of a tech enthusiast, if you love that 120Hz smoothness, you really want that dedicated 3x zoom for your photos, and you don't mind the extra weight or the lightning port, then the 14 Pro is still an absolute beast. It feels like a more expensive device, and in many ways it still is. Just be prepared to maybe swap the battery if you find one with low health. For me, the iPhone 15 is the value king for someone who wants to spend their money wisely and keep the phone for several years. But the 14 Pro is for the person who wants that Pro experience and knows exactly why they need it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this comparison helped you figure out which of these is the right fit for your pocket in 2026. If you have questions about either of these, or if you're using one and want to share your experience, drop a comment below. I'd love to chat with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-world reviews, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.